That's a great question right there from Sigmund. How long?
Yeah, what do we got here?
How long in your home theater journey before you started thinking about room treatment? Focus my budget on structural build, AV seating, have basic timber frame insulation for now. I know for my journey, I waited way too late. Like it was like that was the last one day I was sitting there, and it'd been probably several years, and I don't know.
But doesn't it like depend on what your space is like? Like if you have like hardwood floors all over the place,
right,
wouldn't you like do that right away?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, again, I'm in a theater room. I have carpet, but I have I have 4 surfaces that are just solid hard. Left wall, right wall, rear wall, and the ceiling. And so one day somebody had mentioned, maybe like in a forum or something, they were talking about the clap test. I'm like, oh, let me just see. And I went into my room and I clapped loud one time. And dude, I heard boy, oy, 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 oy.
You heard angels.
I was like, in my brain, I'm thinking, that can't be good. You know, I'm like, holy cow. And the more I started researching it, it was like, okay, if your brain is hearing direct sound, and then even a fraction of a second, it's hearing reflected sound, your brain really just gets confused. It's like, what did I just hear? It just sounds convoluted. It sounds non-intelligible. And that's what I was experiencing. And so my neighbor, I don't even know how I came about it, but he was new to our community. And we were talking audio one day, and he's like, yeah, man, I got a little kind of a setup in my living room. I said, dude, I'd love to check it out. I love home theater. I brought him into mine. And so we went over there, and he had acoustic panels all in his living room. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So we walk out of his garage, and I see those same panels. There's probably like 10 or 15 of them. And I'm like, hey, dude, what do you plans to do with that? And he's like, oh, those are just extra ones. I'm like, you want to sell them? He's like, I don't know. I never thought about it. I said, well, text me tonight. You know, if you want to sell them, let me know what you want for them. So he texted me back later on that day. He's like, how about $11 a piece? I'm like, how about I come get them tonight? So I did. I went,
$11 a piece.
Yeah. So I bought like 10 of them from him, and just placed them around my room, did the first reflection point. And I'll be honest, man, it was a great improvement in intelligibility, dialogue clarity. So I wish, looking back, man, I would start there.
Oh, interesting.
Do your room, get the room sounding good, and then add speakers, because I think a lot of times in this journey, sometimes we upgrade thinking, oh, that's what I need. And the reality is you've never fixed your room to begin with. Mm-hmm. So if you've got horrible acoustics and you buy a new amplifier or a processor, or
you're amplifying the horrible acoustics, right?
Yeah, you're not fixing the problem, and you think, oh, I now need a Trinov to fix this. Well, no, if you tame some of those crazy
Look at that. You get a Youth Man deal, $100 or Trinov.
Yeah,
price of a car.
It was awesome.
I think
same result.
I think if everybody could get an $11 sound panel, I think more people would have
100%
sound panels up.
So here's
I like how he thought about it. It's not 10. He went 11.
Yeah,
he thought about it.
A weird number, but I'm like, hey, that works for me. But the reality is, the good thing is, even if you're not handy, like I'm not super handy with wood and building and constructing, but I've got friends that could help me do that. And we could go over on a weekend and we could work together and build some acoustic panels, and you can make them super inexpensive, so it's, if you buy them from like GIK or some of these other brands, ATS Acoustics, you're going to spend like $100 per panel. But the reality is you can build those for probably 2/3 less if you were to build them yourself. So, but definitely, man, I'm all for adding treatment to your room. And again, just a simple test. Go into the middle of your room where you normally sit, and just have everything quiet in your room, and just clap one time pretty loud, and just listen. If you hear it hit the walls and echo back, and then kind of immediately decay pretty quickly, all right, that's pretty good. If you hear it like I did, is like boing, yoing, 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 that's terrible, man. Fix that first. So that's my advice. But yeah, I waited too long to answer your question.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I want the $11 panels.
Hey,
it's interesting because when I do these calibrations for people, I'm not the one who's in charge of setting up the speakers.
Yeah.
Right. I go in there and I kind of just assume that this is how
they've done it right. Yeah.
This is how they've done it. And this is how, it's not my job really. But I always tell them that priority is on placement. So the speaker placement within the room and, the relative placement of the speakers to them, their main listening position. But it's a physical thing where if they have reflections, I can't fix those.
Right. No, you can't.
I can only do so much with their room and their speakers. And so you're exactly right. If you can fix the physical stuff first, then I can go in and make the best possible use of the sound. But if it's reflective, there's nothing I can do.
What you're saying is
digital anything can do
even
that.
magic beans in an unfreed room is going to be...
It's not as magical.
It's not as magical. They're just beans at that point.
They're just... Exactly. Yeah, it's true though. It's true. Yeah. Those higher frequencies, you should absorb them, right? Yeah. Like even in this room right here, I have the mic right here and it can pick up, it's a small room. It can pick up the sound. And when I first moved in here, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was echoey in here.
Yeah.
Super echoey. Yep. And so right now this whole wall has 4 inches, 4-inch panel or foam, acoustic foam along the whole entire wall to prevent the echo
that bouncing back,
hits that wall and comes back, and it made a big difference.
Somebody's asking how you like the panels on your wall behind you. Those are just decorative, right?
These are decorative. I don't know what they do. I don't know that they're not deep enough to actually
so. They're not even foam, right?
They may kind of scatter it, maybe
diffuse a little bit
because they're not flat.
Yeah. Stock phone says, I remember Joe until Echo drove me crazy. Yeah, drove me crazy too. Yeah, there's just too much. But yeah, for sure. Just treat your room if you can, if it's possible. They make some nice looking stuff now. Just not cheap, but I guess you can do a DIY thing if you're handy.
Yep. And the good thing too, if you wanted to spend a little bit more money, you can always create the panels where you have the fabric painted, or not painted, but like artwork. So you can download.
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen that. We saw that at some shows.
Yeah, so you can get decorative like that, or you can put your kids in there. Photos of your family or scenic or whatever you want to do.
You know what they need to do? They need to start just selling just the frame for the acoustic panels, because the frame is the hard part, right? Like if you want to do a DIY, like I don't have the stuff to make the frame. Wood. I don't want to go and get a bunch of stuff cut and have the right angle on there. If they could just set like I don't care if it's plastic, something lightweight where I could just buy a 4-inch thick,
like IKEA style, like just get me in there, like boom, different color, like paper, whatever, and then all you just got to do is get the the rock.
They need a flat pack.
Yeah,
a flat pack. That's what they need. Pack. Somebody sell that. Can you call up your guys at GIK and
let's make it happen?
Yeah. Let's
GIK DIY.
That's right.
Or somebody else. If somebody else wants to do it, let's do it.
Yeah.
We're movers and shakers here. We make it happen. After every Monday podcast, we have an after show. If you're interested in joining us, go to patreon.com/Daily HiFi.